I'm about to reveal something that might shock you. Your blood pressure reading is probably wrong. Not a little wrong, catastrophically wrong. Wrong enough that you might be taking medications you don't need. Wrong enough that your doctor might be increasing your dose when you're actually fine. And it's not the blood pressure monitor's fault. It's not your doctor's fault. It's one simple mistake you're making right before the reading. A mistake so common that 70% of people do it without realizing. And this mistake can add 20, 30, even 40 points to your reading, making normal blood pressure look dangerously high. I'm Dr. Clara Baker, and after 2 decades as a cardiac surgeon, I've seen what happens when people are overtreated for blood pressure that isn't really high. I've seen the side effects, the dizziness, the falls, the fractures, the hospital stays, all because someone's blood pressure reading was fake high. But I've also seen what happens when people are undertreated because they dismiss every high reading as fake. Real hypertension ignored, strokes, heart attacks, kidney failure. Both paths are dangerous, and the difference between them comes down to one thing: knowing when your reading is real and when it's fake. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact mistake that makes blood pressure fake high. You'll know how to test whether your high reading is real or fake. And most importantly, you'll know what to do about it so you're never overtreated or undertreated again. This isn't theory. This is life-saving information that could prevent you from taking medications you don't need or missing medications you desperately do need. But first, I need to tell you about Robert. Because what happened to Robert is happening right now to thousands of people, and they have no idea until it's too late. Robert was 71 years old, active, healthy, felt great, went for his annual checkup feeling confident everything would be fine. The nurse took his blood pressure, 158/94, high. Robert was surprised. He felt fine. No symptoms, no problems. The nurse took it again, 162/96, even higher. His doctor came in, looked at the numbers. "Robert, your blood pressure is too high. We need to start you on medication." Robert was confused. "I feel fine," he said. "Are you sure it's high? Can we check again?" They checked again. 156/92, still high. 3 readings, all high. His doctor prescribed amlodipine, 5 milligrams daily. "Take this every day. We'll recheck in 1 month." Robert started the medication. Within 3 days, he felt different. Not better, different. Dizzy when he stood up, lightheaded. His head felt foggy, like he was moving through water. He called his doctor. "These are common side effects," the nurse said. "They usually go away. Give it 2 weeks." Robert gave it 2 weeks. The dizziness didn't go away. It got worse. He felt unsteady, uncertain. Started using a cane when he went out because he didn't trust his balance. 1 month later, Robert went back for his follow-up. They checked his blood pressure, 148/88. "Better, but still high. We need to increase your dose," his doctor said. 10 milligrams daily now." Robert mentioned the dizziness. "That's unfortunate," his doctor said, "but your blood pressure is still too high. We need to control it. The dizziness is better than a stroke." Robert increased to 10 milligrams. The dizziness became severe. He felt drunk, couldn't think clearly. Started staying home because he didn't feel safe driving. His wife did all the errands. Robert, who'd been independent and active, became housebound because of dizziness from blood pressure medication. 3 months into treatment, Robert was coming down his front stairs. Same stairs he'd walked 1,000 times, but his balance was off. Dizziness hit. He missed a step, fell, tumbled down 8 stairs, hit his head on the concrete landing. His wife found him unconscious, blood everywhere. Skull fracture, subdural hematoma, brain bleeding. Emergency surgery, 3 weeks in the hospital, 2 months of rehab. He survived, but he's not the same. Memory problems, balance problems, all from a fall caused by dizziness from blood pressure medication. Here's what makes Robert's story devastating. Here's what should make you furious. Robert's blood pressure was never actually high. It was fake high. The readings at the doctor's office were wrong. Not the monitor's fault, not poor technique. The readings were elevated because of one simple mistake Robert was making every single time they checked. A mistake that added 30 to 40 points to his readings, made normal blood pressure look dangerously high, and nobody caught it. Nobody thought to check. They just saw the numbers and prescribed medication. After his fall, after the hospital stay, after the surgery, Robert's daughter brought him to me. She wanted a complete cardiac workup. Make sure his heart was okay. I did the workup, heart was fine, but I also checked his blood pressure correctly, avoiding the mistake. Robert's actual blood pressure was 118/76. Perfect, completely normal. He never needed blood pressure medication, not 5 milligrams, not 10 milligrams, none. His blood pressure was fake high, and that fake reading cost him his independence, his cognitive function, and nearly his life. What was the mistake? I'm going to tell you, but first, you need to understand why this matters so much. Why getting accurate blood pressure readings is literally life or death. Because there are two ways this mistake destroys lives. Robert's path is one: overtreatment. Medication you don't need causing side effects that ruin your life. But there's another path, just as dangerous. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was 73 years old, went to her doctor. Blood pressure checked, 142/88. Elevated. Her doctor recommended medication, but Margaret had read about blood pressure medication side effects. She didn't want to take it. She'd heard that readings at the doctor's office are often fake high, white coat syndrome. Let me check it at home, she said. If it's high at home too, I'll take medication. Her doctor agreed. Reasonable plan. Margaret bought a home blood pressure monitor, checked it that evening. 128/78. Normal. She checked it the next morning. 132/82. Normal. She checked it daily for a week, always between 125 and 135 systolic, never above 135. She reported back to her doctor. See, it's normal at home. It was just white coat syndrome. I don't need medication. Her doctor looked at her home log. These readings do look better, he said. Let's watch it. Check it weekly at home. Come back in 3 months. Margaret felt vindicated. She was right. Her blood pressure wasn't really high. It was fake high from being nervous at the doctor's office. She continued checking weekly. Always normal. 125 to 135. Nothing concerning. 6 months later, Margaret was cooking dinner. She felt strange. Her right hand went numb, dropped the knife she was holding. She tried to call for her husband, but the words came out wrong, garbled. Not words, just sounds. Her husband came into the kitchen, saw her face drooping on the right side, knew immediately. Stroke. Called 911. By the time the ambulance arrived, Margaret couldn't move her right side at all, couldn't speak, couldn't understand what people were saying. Hospital, CT scan, large ischemic stroke. Left middle cerebral artery territory. Massive. They gave her clot-busting medication. Too late. The damage was done. Margaret survived, but she never recovered fully. She can't use her right arm, can't walk without assistance, can't speak clearly, needs full-time care. At 73 years old, stroke destroyed her independence completely. What happened? Margaret's blood pressure wasn't fake high, it was really high, but her home readings were fake low. She was making the same mistake at home that Robert was making at the doctor's office, but in reverse. And that mistake made her genuinely high blood pressure look normal at home. She thought she was fine. She thought she didn't need medication, and that belief cost her everything. So, what's the mistake? The mistake that can make blood pressure fake high like Robert or fake low like Margaret. The mistake that's causing millions of incorrect readings every single day? I'm going to tell you, but you need to understand something first. This isn't obvious. This isn't something anyone tells you. Your doctor probably doesn't even know this. The nurse taking your blood pressure definitely doesn't know. And it's so simple, so common, that 70% of people do it without thinking. The mistake is arm position. Where your arm is during the reading changes your blood pressure by 20 to 40 points, maybe more. Your arm needs to be at heart level during the reading, exactly at heart level. If your arm is below heart level, gravity adds pressure to the reading. If your arm is above heart level, gravity subtracts pressure from the reading. A few inches makes a huge difference. Let me explain the physics. Blood pressure is the pressure of blood against artery walls. It's measured in millimeters of mercury. Each millimeter of mercury represents the pressure needed to raise a column of mercury 1 millimeter high against gravity. When your arm is hanging at your side, below heart level, gravity pulls blood down into your arm. This increases the pressure at the measurement site. The lower your arm, the higher the reading. If your arm is 10 inches below heart level, that adds approximately 8 millimeters of mercury to your reading. If it's 20 inches below heart level, approximately 16 millimeters added. Now think about how blood pressure is typically taken at the doctor's office. You're sitting on the exam table. Your arm is hanging at your side or resting on your lap. The nurse wraps the cuff around your bicep, takes the reading. Your arm is 8 to 12 inches below heart level. That position alone adds 8 to 12 points to your systolic reading, maybe more. Your actual blood pressure might be 128, but measured with arm hanging down, it reads 140. Fake high. Robert's blood pressure readings at the doctor's office were all taken with his arm hanging at his side. Every single one. 158 over 94, 162 over 96, 156 over 92. All fake high. His actual pressure, measured correctly with arm at heart level, was 118 over 76. The difference between fake and real? 40 points systolic. 40 points. That's the difference between normal blood pressure and stage 2 hypertension. That's the difference between no medication and high-dose medication, all because of arm position. Now think about how Margaret checked her blood pressure at home. She sat on her couch, wrapped the cuff around her arm, rested her arm on the couch armrest. The armrest was slightly elevated, higher than her heart. Her arm was 4 to 6 inches above heart level. That position alone subtracted 6 to 8 points from her reading. Her actual blood pressure was 152 over 92. Genuinely high. Stage 2 hypertension, stroke risk. But measured with arm above heart level, it read 132 over 82. Fake low. She thought she was fine. She wasn't. This is the mistake. Arm position. And it's everywhere. Every doctor's office, every home, every pharmacy blood pressure station. Most blood pressure readings are wrong because arm position is wrong. And nobody knows. Nobody checks. They just write down the number and make medical decisions based on fake data. Let me tell you about Helen, because Helen's story shows how this mistake combines with other factors to create complete chaos. Helen was 68 years old. Her doctor told her she had high blood pressure, started her on medication, but Helen didn't feel right on the medication. Tired, weak, dizzy. She decided to check her pressure at home to see if she really needed it. She bought a good monitor, Omron, highly rated. She sat at her kitchen table, wrapped the cuff around her left arm, rested her arm on the table, took the reading. 118 over 74. Normal. Perfect. She took it again. Same position. 122 over 76. Still normal. She was confused. Her doctor said her pressure was high, but at home it's normal. She checked it every day for a week, always at the kitchen table, always with her arm resting on the table, always between 115 and 125 systolic, all normal readings. She went back to her doctor, showed him her home log. See, my pressure is normal at home. I don't think I need this medication. Her doctor was skeptical, checked her blood pressure in the office, arm hanging at her side. 152 over 88. High. Checked it again. Same position. 148 over 86. Still high. Your pressure is high here, he said. Your home readings must be wrong. Maybe your monitor is defective. Keep taking the medication. Helen was frustrated, confused. One of them had to be wrong. But which one? Helen came to me for a second opinion. I had her sit in a chair with armrests, put the blood pressure cuff on her left arm, had her rest her arm on the armrest at exactly heart level, took the reading, 146/86, high. Then I had her drop her arm to hang at her side, took another reading, 164/94, much higher. Then I had her rest her arm on a high table, above heart level, took another reading, 128/78, lower. 3 different readings from the same person within 3 minutes. 64 systolic spread from highest to lowest, all because of arm position. I explained to Helen what was happening. At the doctor's office, her arm hung low, reading was fake high. At home, her arm rested on the table elevated, reading was fake low. Her actual blood pressure, measured correctly with arm at heart level, was 146/86, genuinely high. She did need medication, but not because the office reading of 164 was real. That was fake high. And not because the home reading of 118 was fake. That was fake low. Her real pressure, measured correctly, was in between, and that real pressure was high enough to need treatment. This is why arm position matters so much. It's not just about whether pressure is high or low. It's about knowing your actual pressure so you can make correct treatment decisions. Too many people are like Robert, overtreated based on fake high readings, suffering side effects from medications they don't need. Too many people are like Margaret, undertreated based on fake low readings, having strokes because they think they're fine when they're not. And it all comes down to arm position. So, how do you check blood pressure correctly? Let me give you the exact protocol, every single step, because if you're going to check your blood pressure, you need to do it right. Otherwise, the numbers are meaningless. Sit in a chair with back support, not a stool, not standing. Sitting with your back against the chair back, feet flat on the floor, not crossed, not tucked under the chair, flat on the floor. This position allows proper blood flow and prevents venous congestion. Rest for 5 minutes before taking the reading. 5 full minutes. Don't talk, don't look at your phone, don't think about stressful things. Just sit quietly, breathe normally, let your body settle. Blood pressure fluctuates constantly. Movement, talking, stress, all raise it temporarily. You need to be at baseline. 5 minutes of quiet rest gets you there. Wrap the cuff around your bare upper arm, not over clothing. Clothing adds bulk and affects the reading. The cuff should be snug but not tight. You should be able to slip 2 fingers between the cuff and your arm. The bottom edge of the cuff should be 1 inch above your elbow crease. This positions the cuff over the brachial artery correctly. Now here's the critical part. Rest your arm on a surface at exactly heart level. Exactly. Not close. Exactly. Your heart is approximately at the level of the middle of your chest, mid-sternum. Find that level. Now position your arm so the middle of the cuff, where the artery is being measured, is at that same level. Use pillows if needed, stack books, whatever it takes. Get your arm at heart level. How do you know if it's right? The middle of your upper arm, where the cuff is, should be level with the middle of your chest. If you're sitting at a table and your arm is resting on the table needs to be at the right height. Most kitchen tables are too low. Your arm ends up below heart level. Dining room tables are often better. Or use a pillow on your lap to raise your arm. The key is heart level, exact heart level. Take the reading. Don't talk. Don't move. Breathe normally. The monitor will inflate the cuff and deflate it slowly. Wait for the number. Write it down. Wait 2 minutes. Take a second reading. Same position, same arm. Write it down. Take a third reading. Write it down. Average the 3 numbers. That's your blood pressure. Not the first reading alone, the average of 3. Why 3 readings? Because blood pressure varies beat to beat. The first reading is often artificially high from anxiety or anticipation. The second and third readings are usually lower and more accurate. The average of 3 gives you the most reliable number. This is what research studies use. This is what you should use. Let me tell you about Thomas, because Thomas's story shows what happens when you do this correctly versus incorrectly. Thomas was 76 years old. His doctor told him he had high blood pressure, started him on medication, but Thomas wanted to monitor it at home. He bought a blood pressure monitor, started checking daily. He'd sit on his couch, wrap the cuff around his arm, rest his arm on the couch armrest, and take one reading. He'd write it down. That was his routine. His readings at home were always lower than at the doctor's office. At the doctor, 158 to 168. At home, 128 to 138. Thomas thought his doctor's office readings were fake high from white coat syndrome. His home readings were the real ones, and they looked pretty good. Borderline, but acceptable. He figured the medication was working. Everything was fine. But Thomas had two problems. First, his couch armrest was slightly elevated. His arm was above heart level during home readings. This made his readings fake low by 6 to 8 points. Second, he was only taking one reading, not averaging 3. That single reading wasn't reliable. It might be accurate, or it might be an outlier. Thomas came to see me because he was having headaches. We worked him up. Everything was fine, except his blood pressure. In my office, measured correctly with arm at heart level, average of 3 readings, his pressure was 164/96. Very high, much higher than his home readings suggested. I had Thomas demonstrate how he checked his pressure at home. I watched him, saw the elevated armrest, saw him take only one reading. I explained the problems. We did it correctly. Thomas sat in my exam chair, arm on the armrest at heart level. I adjusted the armrest height to match his mid-chest. We waited 5 minutes, then took 3 readings 2 minutes apart. 162/94, 168/98, 164/96. Average 165/96. His actual blood pressure was much higher than his home readings indicated. He needed his medication adjusted. His headaches were from uncontrolled hypertension. Thomas was shocked. He thought he was fine. His home readings said he was fine. But those readings were fake low from bad technique. His actual pressure, measured correctly, was dangerously high. We increased his medication. His headaches resolved. His blood pressure came down to 132/82. Controlled. But it took correct measurement technique to identify the problem. This is what I need you to understand. Blood pressure measurement isn't casual. It's not something you can do carelessly. Every detail matters. Arm position matters most, but other factors matter too. Sitting versus standing, back supported versus unsupported, legs crossed versus uncrossed, cuff size, cuff position, talking versus silence, recent activity, recent caffeine, recent smoking. All of these affect the reading. Let me tell you about the other factors. Because arm position is the biggest one, but it's not the only one. Caffeine raises blood pressure temporarily, about 5 to 10 points for 1 to 3 hours after consumption. If you drink coffee and check your blood pressure 20 minutes later, the reading will be artificially elevated. You need to avoid caffeine for at least 30 minutes before checking, ideally an hour. Smoking does the same thing. Nicotine causes immediate vasoconstriction. Blood vessels tighten, pressure spikes, goes up 10 to 15 points within minutes of smoking, stays elevated for 30 minutes. If you smoke and immediately check blood pressure, fake high. Wait at least 30 minutes after smoking before checking. Exercise raises blood pressure during and immediately after. Can stay elevated for 30 to 60 minutes. If you walk upstairs and immediately check blood pressure, it'll be high. That's not your resting blood pressure. That's your post-exercise blood pressure. Different thing. You need to rest at least 30 minutes, ideally an hour, after significant physical activity before checking. A full bladder raises blood pressure, approximately 10 to 15 points. Your body is uncomfortable. Blood pressure rises. If you need to urinate and check your blood pressure first, the reading will be elevated. Empty your bladder before checking. This sounds minor, but it makes a significant difference. Talking raises blood pressure, 6 to 10 points while talking, even casual conversation. Your blood pressure while talking isn't your resting blood pressure. Don't talk during the reading. Not before, not during. Sit silently for 5 minutes, then take the reading in silence. No talking until you're finished. Back unsupported raises blood pressure. If you're sitting on a stool or edge of a chair with your back not resting against anything, your muscles are engaged. Your body is working to maintain posture. Blood pressure goes up approximately 5 to 10 points. You need back support. Sit fully in a chair with your back against the backrest, relaxed, not working to maintain position. Legs crossed raises blood pressure, 2 to 8 points. Crossing your legs compresses blood vessels, increases resistance. Pressure goes up. Legs should be uncrossed, feet flat on the floor. This allows normal blood flow and gives accurate readings. Cuff size matters. If the cuff is too small for your arm, the reading will be artificially high. The cuff needs to fit your arm correctly. Most monitors come with a standard cuff that fits arms 9 to 13 inches in circumference. If your arm is larger, you need a large cuff. Using a small cuff on a large arm can add 5 to 15 points to the reading. Measure your arm. Get the right size cuff. Time of day matters. Blood pressure follows a circadian rhythm. Lowest during sleep, rises in the morning, peaks in late afternoon, drops in evening. Your reading at 6 a.m. will be different than at 6 p.m. Maybe 10 to 20 points different. This is normal variation. You should check your blood pressure at the same time each day for consistency. Morning is typically recommended. Before breakfast. Before morning medications. This gives you baseline readings that are comparable day to day. Let me tell you about Patricia, because Patricia's story shows how all of these factors combine. Patricia was 74 years old. Her doctor started her on blood pressure medication because her office readings were 168/94. High. Patricia decided to monitor at home. She checked every morning. She'd wake up, go to the bathroom, make coffee, drink her coffee while reading the news on her iPad, then check her blood pressure. She'd sit on her dining chair. No back support, really. She'd sit forward on the edge, wrap the cuff around her arm, rest her arm on the dining table. The table was low. Her arm was definitely below heart level. Take one reading. 138/84. She'd write it down. That was her routine. Patricia thought her blood pressure was okay at home. 138 is borderline, but acceptable. Much better than the 168 at the doctor's office. She figured the medication was working fine, but Patricia was making multiple mistakes. She checked right after coffee, caffeine elevated. She sat on the edge of the chair, back unsupported. Muscle tension elevated reading. Her arm was below heart level on the low table, reading artificially high from that. But she was also post-bathroom, which actually helped. And she was checking in the morning, the optimal time. Some factors raised her reading. Some might have lowered it. The combination created readings that were unpredictably inaccurate. I had Patricia check her blood pressure correctly in my office. Proper chair, back supported, feet flat, 5 minutes rest. No coffee for 2 hours before. Arm at exact heart level. 3 readings averaged. Her actual blood pressure was 154/88. Higher than her home readings, but lower than her office readings. Genuinely elevated. Needed medication. But the correct dose required knowing her actual pressure, not the fake numbers from bad technique. This is why technique matters so much. Every deviation from correct technique changes the reading. Some make it higher, some make it lower. You end up with numbers that don't reflect your actual blood pressure. And then, medical decisions are made based on fake data, medication prescribed or not prescribed based on wrong information. This is medical malpractice by accident, not intentional, but dangerous nonetheless. So, here's what you need to do. If you're checking blood pressure at home, do it right. Every step, no shortcuts. Get a validated monitor, Omron 7 series or 10 series, highly accurate, validated against mercury sphygmomanometers. Get the correct cuff size for your arm. Measure your upper arm circumference. Buy the cuff that fits. Check your blood pressure at the same time every day. Morning is best. Before breakfast, before morning medications, after you've been up for about an hour. This allows your body to adjust to being upright, gives consistent readings. Empty your bladder first. No caffeine for at least an hour before. No nicotine for at least an hour before. No exercise for at least an hour before. Sit in a proper chair with back support, back fully against the backrest, feet flat on the floor. Rest 5 minutes. Silence. No phone, no TV. Just sit. Put the cuff on your bare upper arm, bottom edge 1 inch above elbow crease. Snug but not tight. Rest your arm on a surface at exactly heart level. Use pillows or books to adjust height. The middle of your upper arm should be level with the middle of your chest. Take 3 readings, 2 minutes apart. Don't talk, don't move, breathe normally. Write down all 3 numbers. Average them. That's your blood pressure. Do this daily for 1 week, then weekly ongoing. Track your numbers. Look for patterns. If your pressure is consistently below 120 systolic, you're probably fine. If it's consistently above 130, you need to talk to your doctor. If it's borderline, 120 to 130, keep monitoring. Focus on lifestyle, diet, exercise, stress management. But here's the critical question. What if your doctor's office readings are high, but your home readings are normal, like Robert? Is it fake high from white coat syndrome and bad technique? Or is your home technique wrong? How do you know which reading is real? Here's the test. Do 24-hour ambulatory blood pressure monitoring. This is a blood pressure monitor that you wear for 24 hours. It takes your blood pressure automatically every 20 to 30 minutes throughout the day and night. This gives you 50 to 70 readings over 24 hours. It averages them. This is the most accurate way to know your actual blood pressure. No white coat effect, no technique issues, just real data from your normal daily life. If your doctor's office readings are high, but your home readings are normal, ask for 24-hour monitoring. Insurance usually covers it if there's a discrepancy between office and home readings. The 24-hour monitor will tell you the truth. If it shows your pressure is actually normal, you probably don't need medication. If it shows your pressure is actually high, you do need treatment despite your normal home readings. Let me tell you about Susan, because Susan's story brings this all together. Susan was 72 years old. Office readings consistently high. 162 over 92, 168 over 96, 158 over 90. Her doctor wanted to start medication. But Susan's home readings were normal. 128 over 78, 132 over 82, 124 over 76. She was convinced it was white coat syndrome. She didn't want medication based on office readings that she believed were fake high. I suggested 24-hour monitoring. Susan wore the monitor. It took her pressure every 30 minutes for 24 hours. The results came back. Average blood pressure, 126 over 78, normal. Her home readings were accurate. Her office readings were fake high. She didn't need medication, just white coat syndrome causing anxiety at the doctor's office. But we only knew this for certain because of the 24-hour monitoring. Compare that to another patient, James, 78 years old. Office readings high, 172 over 94. Home readings normal, 136 over 82. He was convinced his home readings were right. Office readings were fake high. We did 24-hour monitoring. Results came back. Average, 164 over 90. High. His office readings were real. His home readings were fake low. He was checking incorrectly at home. Arm position was wrong. He needed medication, but had been refusing it because his home readings looked fine. This is why 24-hour monitoring matters. It's the truth teller. It's the tiebreaker. When office and home readings disagree, 24-hour monitoring shows you reality. And reality is what medical decisions should be based on. The bottom line is this. Blood pressure measurement seems simple. Wrap a cuff, push a button, read a number. But it's not simple. Technique matters enormously. Arm position alone can create 20 to 40-point differences. Add in all the other factors. Caffeine, talking, unsupported back, crossed legs, wrong cuff size, wrong timing, and you can get readings that bear no resemblance to your actual blood pressure. Robert was overtreated because office readings were fake high, suffered side effects, fell, brain injury, all for medication he never needed. Margaret was undertreated because home readings were fake low. had a stroke, lost her independence, all because she thought her pressure was fine when it wasn't. Helen was confused and frustrated because some readings were high and some were normal. Nobody explained that technique was the difference. Thomas was having headaches from uncontrolled hypertension because his home readings were fake low. Patricia was making multiple technique errors that created unreliable readings. All of them suffered because of incorrect blood pressure measurement. Don't be like them. If you're checking blood pressure, do it right. Arm at heart level, back supported, feet flat, 5 minutes rest. No talking. 3 readings averaged. Same time daily. This isn't optional. This is required for accurate readings. And accurate readings are required for correct medical decisions. If your readings at the doctor's office are high, but you think they're fake high, prove it. Do 24-hour monitoring. Show that your pressure is actually normal. Then you can refuse medication with confidence. But if your home readings are normal and you're avoiding medication, make absolutely certain your technique is perfect, because fake low readings. Your blood pressure matters, but the number you get depends entirely on how you measure it. Measure it wrong, get wrong numbers. Make wrong decisions, suffer wrong consequences. Measure it right, get right numbers. Make right decisions. Protect your health. If this video showed you a mistake that's affecting millions of blood pressure readings every day, share it. Send it to everyone you know who checks blood pressure. They need this information. Their doctors aren't teaching them correct technique. They're getting wrong numbers and making wrong decisions because of it. You can help by sharing. Subscribe to this channel because my mission is giving you practical, accurate information that protects your health. Thank you for watching. Check your blood pressure correctly. Know your real numbers. Make informed decisions. Stay healthy. I'll see you in the next video where we continue revealing the truth about health monitoring that actually matters.